Good morning, Nigeria. It's Tuesday, 26th of August, 2025, and you are tuned in to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. I am Samson Balogun. And I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. Thank you for waking up with us. Your weekday morning guide to the stories shaping our democracy, the voices driving change, and the questions those in power would rather avoid. Yes, this morning we'll begin with a statement that has stirred both outrage and reflection. Nigeria was not founded by God, but fashioned through Britain's greed. That was the declaration of Pastor Paul Adefarasin, a voice that rarely shies away from controversy. His words cut into the very heart of our nation conversation. Are we truly a country divinely orchestrated, or one cobbled together for colonial convenience? It's a bold take, and one that forces us to re-examine our foundation. Was 1914 an act of destiny or deception? And more importantly, what does that history mean for Nigeria struggling with unity, equity, and survival in 2025? Yes, plenty to chew on as we set the tone for today. But first, Yemi will bring you the Daybreak News, stories fresh off the wires, the politics, policies, and power plays you need to know this morning. And after that, we'll take a hard look at the newspaper headlines and analysis beyond the ink and print. We'll give you the sharper angles, what the headlines review, and what they conceal, and why they matter. Then our big story zooms in on one of the most sensitive issues in Nigerian politics: judicial delays and the politics of terrorism trials, the Owo Church case. We'll be joined by Sam Nwoko, senior editor and a columnist with the Nigerian Tribune. Together, we'll ask, why does justice move so slowly when terrorism is on trial? Who benefit from the silence of the courts? And what does delay mean for victims, for communities, and for our democracy itself? It's a conversation that demands answers and not excuses. And before we sign off, we'll scan the social space and trend watch, the issues, debate, and bara conversations that Nigerians are driving online. It's Tuesday, it's political, it's firm. This is Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, and we are just getting started. So keep it locked right here. If you are just setting out or you are grabbing that cup of coffee, find something to sit, as we have a lot to unpack on this show. Do well to link up with us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, watch us live, drop your comment at Dominion Broadcast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. Good morning to you, Yemi. Good morning, Samson. Good to have you on the show again. Definitely, it's a great day. Honestly. But then, let's take a look at, Pastor Paul Adefarasin's statement. Yes, according to what we have said earlier, he's not that kind of person that shies away from controversy. Time and time again, his name has been there, and it has been controversial. But then, again, it is not divinely orchestrated by God. And the 1940 amalgamation of the Northern and Southern Protectorate was an act of greed by the British. I mean, that's a bold statement to make at this time. Yeah, it's a bold statement, and I think it's a very true one. Historically, is a fact, because looking at the fact that, the Southern Protectorate and the Northern Protectorate was amalgamated because the Southern Protectorate was more financially okay. So the British felt like, why should we spend more
when we can bring these two, regions together so that they can, work hand in hand, and then we don't have to spend more. Because as a matter of fact, the British had to introduce the indirect rule, whereby they just appointed some intermediaries, and then the British officials were merely supervising the actions, because we had the traditional chiefs. But then it did not work in some part of the nation. And I agree with Pastor Paul when he said that it was fashioned because of their greed. They wanted to come here to enjoy some certain things, our resources, have access to some areas, and then they did that, because they were able to. They succeeded because they found the fertile ground, even though indirect rule did not work in some part of the country, like the eastern part, and that was what led to the Aba Women Riot of 1929. And of course, it worked partially in the northern part of the country. It didn't work in the eastern part because they had an acephalous system, but it worked perfectly in the western part. So I agree with Paul when he said that it was fashioned because of their greed. They majorly brought those two regions together because they felt they can use it as an advantage. They don't want to spend more, and that was why they introduced the indirect rule. However, Pastor Paul also mentioned that he doesn't agree that the likes of Azikwe, the likes of Awolowo, and the likes of many of them like that, he doesn't agree that they are the founding founders of Nigeria. And so that is where the argument might start. And in academia is allowed to bring any argument to the fore. Right. Samuel Johnson wrote a book. He called it The Issue of the Yorubas. If you read that book was written based on divine orchestration of some things. A lot of scholars have come out to say that we don't agree with this view. So if he comes out to say he doesn't agree God divinely orchestrated this country, or maybe established this country, it's an argument. And this at this time, okay, it is the duty of the scholars to now come out to say we want to research into this, we want to do this and that. So it's an argument, and it's allowed, really. I
think he's actually entitled to his opinion. If you look down the memory lane, you realize the fact that oftentimes so many people have actually questioned the kind of grace the people like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo had during their time. Like till now, people say that some of them do not deserve the credits that they are being given. But then that's an argument for another day. Definitely. And of course, according to history, they played an important role in getting Nigeria the independence they had craved for even before then. But obviously, there are so many areas, gray areas, that was not touched. And that includes the fact that, when you are bringing two sets of people, different cultures, backgrounds, if you are bringing them together, there must be a written agreement as regards, what do we do going forward. I mean, it was, I would call it a blind arrangement in the first place, because at a point it became clear that the North and Southern Protectorates, they are two different entities, had nothing in common, but of course were brought together for one goal, which actually suits the British more than it suits Nigerians. Definitely. Until today, we are still having that issue, because at a point, you can imagine at a situation where Sharia law was to be introduced in the North, and then some people are clamoring for it to be brought to the South, and then we'd also have a group of people that said, no, you can bring that to the South because it's not part of our culture. We have a culture here. And if you look at, the justice system in the Southwest, even before the amalgamation, you realize the fact that the kings had, the sovereign rule over their communities. But now it has been, due to the amalgamation, these powers were taken away from the kings, and they were subjected to local government authorities. I mean, that is one of the things that I call an aberration that actually happened during the amalgamation. But then, I think he has a valid point. And Definitely. Whoever thinks he doesn't agree with what Pastor Paul actually said, should actually call him to a debate. Maybe they can have a go.
The history of the Yoruba, speaking about Oduduwa, there was a time that we read about an account that says, okay, he actually came from the Benis. Some are saying, okay, he came from the Yorubaris. So when it comes to the issue of scholarship, because, yes, is a pastor, but then I think he's cerebrally, vast, so he knows quite a number of things. So that's why I agree with him when he said that this country was fashioned, or the amalgamation of 1914 was done because of the greed of the British. So, but there are some things that he said that we might actually subject to, some critical argument, and of course, scholars will come out to say we don't agree with this, we don't agree with that. There are some places in the Bible, we know that when you read today, you notice that those places still exist, but the names have changed. So because things change over time. So these are the areas that we should begin to look at. So he has said that he doesn't agree that God, divinely or maybe orchestrated this country, established this country. Fine, that's his argument. However, many people might not agree with some of the things I said, but there are truths in some of the things that he was able to say.
That's actually right. And also, you were talking about Oduduwa. Some even claim till today that when Oduduwa came, he met some people in Ile-Ife, which is still part of history.
Some said he descended descended from heaven.
From heaven. I mean, there are so many. It's becoming more of a case where you really have to read by yourself to understand exactly what you want to believe. It now depends on you what you want to believe when it comes to history. But of course, one has to read so much to understand different areas where there are conflicting, stories.
And even when people read, sometimes they still don't agree with you, and you can't beat them. It's their decision, their opinion.
Now, when I talked about reading, I mean, even if you read, you only understand what you want to understand.
Definitely.
I mean, what you can understand
Definitely.
by interpretation of what you have actually read. So you can't force understanding on people.
Definitely.
You can force them to read, but can you force understanding on them?
Even in class, when a lecturer explains things to you, you can say, okay, I don't believe in these that you have said, sir, but I'll take these from you. It's your, whether you are going to prove that in the exam or and fail.
Now depends on you.
It depends on you.
All right, thank you for being a part of the show so far. Let's go on a short break, and when we return, we'll take weather report on this show. We'll be back after this time out.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Do well to link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to that channel, drop your comments. We'll surely take them on this show at Dominion Broadcast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. Now it's time to take weather report, and we're starting from Oyo State this morning, Ibadan, to be precise, as weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius this morning, but it's expected to rise to 25 degrees Celsius later in the morning, and expected to be partly cloudy. By afternoon, to rise to 27 degrees Celsius. I expect some showers in Ibadan, and by evening, it will be mostly cloudy at 24 degrees Celsius. Later overnight, it will be 22 degrees Celsius, which is expected to be cloudy at 11%.
And of course, let's cross over to Kaduna, North Kaduna. Weather this morning feels like 22 degrees Celsius, and of course, cloudy around 21%. In the afternoon, it will come to 24 degrees Celsius, rain 63%. Abego, please note that. In the evening, 22 degrees Celsius and mostly cloudy around 12%. And overnight, 21%, cloudy around 24%. That's what we have for Kaduna this morning.
All right, in Enugu this morning, weather currently feels like 23 degrees Celsius to rise to 26 degrees Celsius in the afternoon, mostly cloudy. By afternoon, it will be 28 degrees Celsius. Expect some showers in Enugu by 57% chance. And in the evening, it will be around 24 degrees Celsius, cloudy cloudy, and overnight it will also be cloudy at 23 degrees Celsius in Enugu today.
All right, let's cross over to Federal Capital Territory this morning. Weather feels like 22 degrees Celsius and, of course, rain around 99%. That's serious. In the afternoon, 24 degrees Celsius. Showers around 50%, and of course in the evening 22 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 24%, overnight 22 degrees Celsius and showers around 54%. That's what we have for Federal Capital Territory this morning. Okay,
in Osun today, it currently feels like 22 degrees Celsius, cloudy, and by day, in the afternoon it will rise to 28 degrees Celsius, and by night it will be 21 degrees Celsius. Humidity is expected to be around 96%. And our dew point at 22 degrees Celsius. So if you are in Osun this morning, keep your umbrella handy.
All right, let's cross over to Lagos State. Weather this morning feels like 24 degrees Celsius. Of course, cloudy around 16%. In the afternoon, 26 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 16%. In the evening, 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 6%. Overnight, 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 16%. That's what we have for Lagos State this morning.
Right, in Port Harcourt, River State, to be precise, this morning, it currently feels like 21 degrees Celsius, and by day, in the afternoon, to rise to 25 degrees Celsius, and by night to 20 degrees Celsius, and humidity is expected to be around 98%. So if you are in Port Harcourt today, so keep your umbrella handy, and of course, look out for the vital signs.
All right, let's cross over to Suleja, Nigeria. Weather this morning feels like 22 degrees Celsius, and of course rain 100%. Afternoon 24 degrees Celsius and showers around 56%. In the evening 23 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 23%, and overnight 22 degrees Celsius, rain around 76%. Please, if you are around this area, make sure you prepare adequately for this. That's for Suleja, Nigeria this morning.
All right, that will be all on weather reports this morning. I keep it locked on this, that we have a lot to unpack on this show. Let's go on a short break, and when we return, we'll take the news. We'll be back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the structure
moment. We deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless. Book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Good morning. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I am Oluwayemi. Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja Olubado designate as enjoined Mogaji's family heirs and Bales in Ibadan land to report anything that can cause a security breach to the law enforcement agencies on time. Solomon Olugbemigayo-Ade, the chief press secretary to the Olubadan, in a statement issued and made available to newsmen, noted that the Olubadan designate said that in his address said he's ready to attract investors and investment to your state, adding that it would not allow anything like land grabbing or security breaches to discourage the leaders. The Benue State House of Assembly stated that the resignation of its former Speaker, Andona Dajo, was a personal decision and not one dictated by Governor Aicent Alia. The Assembly did not signify any internal crisis. Meanwhile, Governor Alia had earlier denied playing any role in Dajo's resignation, insisting he is committed to the state's progress, even as he congratulated the new Speaker of the House. In business, the House of Representatives has queried the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission over the 59 billion naira Central Bank of Nigeria loan to electricity distribution companies for the execution of the National Mass Metering Program. Uchenna Okonkwo, chairman of the Joint Committee of the House investigating the disbursement and utilization of the loan, made this known in a statement. The committee also thwarted Meristem Wealth Management Limited and Nessie SS Health in the investigation. A former Super Eagles striker, Brown Ideye, has denied media reports suggesting a court for retired footballers who ended broke to be jailed. The 2013 Africa Cup of Nations winner came on the last week after a comment he made during an online debate was widely circulated by several outlets, with many accusing him of being insensitive to the plight of former Nigerian players. In his response, the former West Bromwich Albion forward described the report as a misrepresentation of his position, adding that his views have always focused on support for footballers and athletes, particularly in addressing the challenges they face after retirement. You can visit our website on www.Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. That's the break news. I am Oluwayemi Adelakunse. Thank you for listening and watching, and good morning.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting. Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB Van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB Van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061. 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. This is Newspaper Headlines and Analysis. And my name is Oluwayemi Adelako. This morning, let's start from Daily Global. I have this headline that says ADC defectors now realizing they've joined one chance vehicle that's coming from PDP governors. Really, what does that come in there? But now that PDP governors are saying ADC defectors now realizing they've joined the one chance vehicle, maybe because Atiku Abubakar, the former VP, declared that he's going to run for presidency. And let's also check this one that says I will run for presidency in 2027. That's coming from Atiku. And of course, there were celebrations online, yesterday and even 2 days ago. However, some persons are complaining majorly, the supporters of Obi, saying that why is it that this man wants to contest again? He's contested severally and is still coming out to contest because most of the obedience, from the body language and what I've read online, they're saying maybe Obi will contest under the ADC, though Peter Obi is a member of the PDP. And now that, the presidency has been zoned to the south, maybe this is the chance for Peter Obi. And we all know that Atiku will definitely run under the ADC. Away from that headline, let's also check this one that say do not associate with this man because he has been dismissed because of certificate forgery. And EFCC offers the arrest of that same man. Away from that headline, PDP knocks out Saraki Bala from 2027 presidential race. That's a lot looking at this headline. And that headline has this right there to say Wike zoning to south vindicate me. Jonathan Makinde Obi on the rather. Yesterday, I read a story whereby the aide of Wike came out to say that, because this presidency has been zoned to the south, Wike is justified because that was what he stood for, in 2022 towards the build-up of the 2023 elections. To say that, okay, if the presidency is zoned to the north, we have Atiku, who is our flag bearer, and then the National Party chairman should be zoned to the south, and then Iyorchia Ayu must leave. But at that point in time, I don't think Atiku was interested in that. So Iyorchia Ayu stayed, and that was how we had the G5, and of course the likes of Wike, Makinde, Piazu, and the others came together to say we are not going to allow this, and we will work against the PDP. And now the aide came out to say that now that the presidency has been zoned to the south, yes, Wike has been justified. However, is it not too late? Because who we want to run under the PDP now, looking at the shape of the party, looking at how some top shots have left the party, looking at the factions that we have on board. Never say never. PDP is a very strong party that ruled this country for 16 good years. And when it comes to strong to the fact that let's take it from this story. I would love to link it from this story. I would love to link it with about 3 other headlines this morning because they link it with about 3 other headlines this morning because they're connected. There's this headline that says ADC defectors now is declared that it's going to run. We all know that Atiku is a member of the ADC. What does this speak for the member of the ADC? What does this speak for the likes of Peter Obi, the likes of Amaechi, the likes of Erufai? Don't forget that Amaechi, came out one time to say that, he knows what to do to make sure that Nigerians come out of this, abject. He knows what to do to make sure that Nigerians come out of this, abject poverty. Now that Atiku wants to run under the ADC,
decides to run. He definitely gets the tickets of whichever party. Did it for PDP, destabilize them in 2023, and there's the tendency that is likely going to do the same again. Tickets of whichever party. Did it for PDP, destabilize them in 2023, and there's the tendency that is likely going to do the same again in ADC. But I think the beauty about the ADC coalition is that it's not an Atiku thing, basically. It's a coalition of the South. The simple truth is that for anyone to defeat the current sitting president, you just have to zone it to the south and bring in a credible candidate from the south.
But it's not looking like ADC will do that.
No, so far, I think don't let us jump the gun yet. There are certain processes, there are certain procedures when it comes to preparing for an election year. ADC is just basically starting that journey. So I think it's unfair for people to lump in on them and try and denigrate the efforts they are making. It's just normal. I think it's unfair for people to lump in on them and try and denigrate the efforts they are, or assume that at I think more importantly, and to talk about Atiku's decision to run, I think it is. I'm still an advocate that he should just retire. He's messing up the politics, basically.
He said he's not desperate to become president.
He's obviously desperate. He has been contesting since 1993 for president. Obviously desperate. He has been contesting since 1993 for president. He got the ticket in 1993. Sorry, he won largely the primaries, or came second in the primaries in 1993 before he was told to step down for the eventual person that ran on the particular.
Declared himself the winner.
No, I mean for the primaries, yes, before Abiola became the person. And in 2022, sorry, the person. And in 1999, he ran. So he has always been putting himself in that space. And like, just to round up, like I said earlier, this article, if he had supported Jonathan to run his second term and mobilized the North to back him up, by now he would have been done with his 8 years and be gone. And posterity has given him an opportunity again to do the same thing now. If he's truly serious about getting that presidential slot and he's not he's not the mole in the opposition that Tinubu has been using all these years, he just has to sit this one out for 4 years, back in a southern candidate, get the numbers together. Then everyone will see you as someone that truly has the interest of the country at hand. Unless that, we'll just see him as someone that feels he's rich enough to buy his way to power.
All right, let me turn
to buy his way to power.
All right, let me turn to Victor. Victor, this notion that this notion that, you know, when we have someone in the position of a president, maybe the person is from the southern, for 8 years. We're talking about the current situation now. A southern candidate has only been there for just one term and is planning to run for the second time. So there's this notion in the political.
Yeah, we need somebody from the south
to unseat him.
I don't believe in. I don't believe that. I feel whoever plays his card well, we get the presidency to them. Have you read that news? I read it this morning. That North Central are now agitating that the presidency should come to them. So if you ask me, yes, why not? So what we should fight for is the credible person that will bring Nigeria to where we ought to be, not zoning. When this OADC thing began, I said it over and over again that Atiku will contest. So it is not a shock to me saying that he wants to contest in 2027. I was expecting it. I knew he was going to contest. If he doesn't win in 2027, 2031, Atiku will contest.
Atiku step down for Obi.
Atiku can let him contest and let me contest in my own thing. And so yeah, so I think that's the only time. Okay, that was the first time he stepped down. The second time was when Obasanjo was coming. When they picked Obasanjo, I said, okay, you know what? Let's compensate Yorubas again. They've really done well. They've really suffered for this nation. Let's put a Yoruba man there. Atiku, go and devise. Easily ticks.
The brain. For it.
Let me turn to Temitope. Let's talk about PDP.
Tinubu in 2027. That's why you can see a Wike, a serving party member, being in the government serving. That's why you can see a lot of strong men, in quotes, in PDP, just sitting back and just feel like it's best, the best thing to do politically or business-wise is to just support Tinubu and not waste their energy. So they need someone that can really come into the party and give them a vision and sell it to them and say, okay, see, in this 4 years coming up after 2023, we have the ability before now and then to put our house in order, and this is the pathway for us to get victory. Which party doesn't want to be in power? The trappings of power is too big to even think of going back into the party. Yes, I know there are conversations already ongoing that they want Peter Obi to come into the party. Some strong men in the party have started making those statements that they want him to come in. But largely from the north, it's Jonathan they have been speaking much about. So it brings us back to the question of that conversation. So Obi, yes, appeals to them because they know, okay, he has the youth, he can mobilize and all of that, but they are still not sure that if this guy does this 4 years and does well, the current crop of people already in the party that can defeat the sitting president. Is it the governor of Oyo State, Makinde, is just going into that?
I want to ask you, does Obi have what it takes to even unseat this president? Deji Adeyanju made a statement just recently, and he said obedience would be the ones that would not allow Peter Obi to become president of the country. What do you make of that?
Can Obi unseat this sitting president? Can Obi unseat this sitting president? Head to head, no.
I think he won the major states in the northern part, and he still won the election.
They supported him, whether you like it or not.
Although the dynamics of the election also did not give room for that. But whether I would like it or not also, did not the votes that Tinubu, the bulk of the votes that brought Tinubu in came from the north, not from the south.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that he lost some major states.
Yeah, but he just got the strategic states that he needed to win, Kano and the others.
Kano,
no, I said Kano.
Kano,
no, Kano went to NNPP.
Kano went to
but Kaduna and the likes.
Yes.
Kaduna.
I think even Adamawa, at least the North Central.
Yeah, the North Central voted for him.
For him.
A large part of the North voted. Of course,
although he lost to the Middle Belt to Obi.
Yeah,
to a reasonable extent.
Won Middle Belt and
those Benue, Nasarawa,
then
and
some
the likes.
South. You know, Omoni, on the shade, the baby,
Southwest.
or whatever the word is.
But
It was
are
only
you
Osun
aware?
State and Lagos State that didn't vote for him now.
Are you aware now that there are issues? The Northerners are having issues with Tinubu and even the APC.
Yes.
I'm not sure they're going to support.
No, they won't
Tinubu.
because the bulk of
It looks like they are moving to the ADC.
bulk of the northern bloc in ADC are the CPC bloc that formed the APC. See, one thing I can see from the coalition that the ADC, the crop of the people going into the ADC, they will still go with him.
But my fear really is this: I'm afraid of one thing. I might be wrong, but I'm afraid that if PDP gives Jonathan ticket and Labour Party gives Obi ticket,
Tinubu wins.
and Atiku gives ADC
This article.
ticket,
Tinubu
what
wins.
happens? What will happen?
Okay, I
Never said
think
that.
I didn't know. There's a tendency that the North might pour their votes in one direction, and the South will have to divide among 3 candidates. That's also something
So
to consider.
if Obi does, you see, in all,
So it's between Jonathan and Obi.
I'm
one
still very,
deciding not to
very
go.
concerned about Obi. I am not an obedient, but I just feel maybe if we give this guy a chance.
I'm surprised that you're supporting him this morning, honestly.
No, he's not really supporting, but I think he's just trying to.
Because I've been
Check
saying,
it too.
I've said this on air and off air. Permit
Okay.
my English. If Nigerians can just give Obi, this is the first time I'm saying this thing on air. I'm very, very silent about this. But if Nigerians can just give Obi that chance and look for a very strong northerner
That backs him up.
to be his vice, oh my, we
Yeah,
have a good.
They will have a good.
Developments are crime, and cyberbullying and all those things. You say that our prisons are even getting more congested than it was. So it all boils down to delayed justice. But the judiciary is understaffed. The discussion where we are today. Now, narrowing it down to terrorism. Terrorism is a new field for some of our judges. It's a new field for a certain extent of investigation should have to make the matter. By my death, I had, and it is a
Security efforts in the country.
Of course, because criminals have links. Criminals will be emboldened because they have links. Criminals will be emboldened because they have. Then what does that tell you? They are coming into, in fear, a place where people will live in constant, tension.
Editors and on
Where the 1061 or own at dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram at Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast.
Time politicians tend to change their perspective or opinions about certain matters, or maybe the people that work with Tinubu. Definitely.
All right, let's take some comments. I think there's one from Raymond that was saying subsidy removal funds gone. They are no longer paying subsidy, yet the economy isn't getting any easy. They are no longer paying subsidy, yet borrowing is on the increase. What is the usefulness of the subsidy removal on the common person? Another Robin Peter to pay Paul.
A critical look, saying that what's this? So many Nigerians don't read. They don't even follow the news.
Right.
So they just come out to say anything that they like. So they don't even follow the news.
Right.
So they just come out to say anything that they like. So if you follow the news, you must have noticed that they've been able to pump some of. You must have noticed that they've been able to pump some of this money to